Spectroscopic techniques are generally used for determination of structure or confirming a structure. Uh, Various spectroscopic methods are together used to define or to confirm a structure. For example, in research, when you synthesize something new, you want to confirm that whatever you had thought of has been formed as a product. So, to confirm the structure, we use mass spectroscopy, we use IR, NMR, UV. All these spectroscopic techniques combined information gives you a final result or final structure determination. Okay, so mass spectroscopy is an analytical tool through which we determine the mass of the particular compound. So it's basically used for measuring the mass to charge ratio of the molecules. And spectrum, what is a spectrum? It's a graph. So it's a graph of relative abundance versus mass to charge ratio. So this is a graph of mass spectroscopy which is produced, and these are the fragments. So we will see what exactly they are. So this technique is generally used to find out molecular weights, isotopic abundance, identify or elucidate the structure of the molecule, find out if impurity is present or not. So there are many applications of mass spectroscopy. What is done in mass spectroscopy? A sample is bombarded by a high energy electron beam, 70 electron volt. Because of this high energy beam, it forms charges, radical charges. So positively charged fragments are formed, and depending upon the weights, molecular mass of the fragment. So we have M by E ratio. Each fragment has a identified by its mass to charge ratio. Now generally the charge is considered to be 1, so whatever fragments we get are nothing but the mass of that ion. And depending upon the mass by mass to charge ratio, or depending upon the molecular weights, these fragments are separated. They are detected by a detector, and then we get a graph. This is called as a fragmentation pattern. So what exactly happens? Now for example, we have methane. Okay, so this is the electron beam, it is bombarded. So what is that electron beam containing electron? So it's like you are adding an electron to it. So you add an electron, so this, suppose, and now since it is symmetrical, so one of the electron is knocked off. So because of the high energy, the electron is knocked off. So what is left now? This H. Okay, and here one of the electron is removed, so this type of radical cation is produced. So this electron plus the electron which is removed will get two electron, and here you have a cation, positive charge is cation, and radical also. This is called as radical cation, and you get the, so this is exactly same. If you calculate the mass, both are same. So you will get the value of fragment as per the molecular mass of this particular fragment. So this is called as M by Z. So for this, the M by Z value or M by E value will be 16, which indicates the molecular weight of that particular molecule. Okay, so when you want to confirm a structure, just by looking at the highest value of the molecule M by Z, you know that that particular molecule is formed, because you know what's molecular weight you are expecting. If you get that peak, that means you are successful in preparing that particular molecule. Now let's see what exactly all these fragments mean. The highest value peak, the highest value, not the highest abundant peak. Okay, not the height I'm talking about. I'm talking about the value. So the highest value is called as the molecular ion peak or the parent ion, which is called as M plus radical cation. Okay, so for example, in all these peaks, 98 is the maximum value. So this is called as a molecular ion peak. This is nothing but the molecular weight of that particular molecule. Okay, so radical cation is formed. So I told you about that methane, how a radical cation is formed. So that radical cation is indicated like this. So this is your radical cation, and the value for the radical cation is called as the molecular ion peak. Then you can see this is the longest peak. Okay, so this is like most abundant. Now, which species can be most abundant? The one which is most stable in the whole molecule. That will be the most abundant peak. So that is called as what? Base peak. Okay, so in a mass spectrum, you get base peak, you get molecular ion peak. Not necessarily the base peak and the molecular ion peaks are same. In some spectroscopic method, they may be same, but most of the time they are not same. Okay, and the remaining lines you can see over here, these are the fragments. Because you are bombarding the molecule at high with a high electron beam, the molecule breaks in different ways, producing different fragments. So you get those fragments. Now there are certain fragmentation rules which you know, which if you know, it helps you to elucidate the structure. So for example, if you have alkanes, branched alkanes, bond fission takes place at branching point. In alkanes, CH2, that is the methylene group, is separated as fragments. Base peaks can be formed for the most stable carbocations. For stable molecules like water, carbon dioxide, such molecules can be lost. Okay, so these are certain examples. For example, let's say let's say for if you have an alkyl group over here, something like this. Okay, so this is the radical cation which is formed, right? And now where is it going to break? It is going to break at this alkyl group. So you have alkyl radical plus you have a carbocation. Now why did we take this? Because this is your tertiary carbocation. So even in the fragmentation, the tertiary carbocation is more stable than primary, than methyl. So in this case you will get this carbocation as a base peak. This is how the cleavage will take place. And always remember, cations are detected, cations are detected, radicals are not. Radicals are not detected. So radicals get lost in the machine and you get the peaks only for the cations. Getting it? Now similarly, suppose you have a ring. Okay, saturated ring. So saturated ring and an alkyl group is present, and this is the radical cation that is formed. So definitely the cleavage takes place here at the group, alkyl group, so at the substitution. And here what are you going to get? This will be more stable and this will be lost as a radical. And suppose you have an unsaturated cyclic ring. Okay, so this is unsaturated cyclic ring. The cyclic ring undergoes a retro Diels-Alder reaction. So it's kind of, breaks over here. So if it breaks over here, what you are going to get is this type of, this is retro Diels-Alder reaction. It's in photochemistry. So right now I won't go, but you just understand what type of product is formed. And now this product that has broken over here, this part is C, single bond C. Now this bond has broken, so it will give you a stable molecule like this. Okay, this is how it breaks. Fine. Now these are some of the rules, and other two rules, which are nitrogen and rule and 13 rule, we are going to study later in detail. So what is nitrogen rule? What it says, that if a nitrogen is present in your molecule, the m by z value or the mass of that molecule will be odd, and if it is not present, it will be even. So for example, for m by z has even mass, the corresponding molecular formula will have even number of atoms. So it can be 0, it may not contain any carbon, any nitrogen, or it can be having 2 hydrogens, 4 nitrogens. If the mass is odd, then it will have odd number of nitrogens. So if mass is even, it will have even number of nitrogens. If the mass is odd, it will have odd number of nitrogens. Okay. Now for example, look at these structures over here. This is having only one nitrogen. So look at the mass. Its molecular mass is 17. Here two nitrogens. So this is odd. Two nitrogens, even number. So 32, even molecular mass. This is three nitrogens, odd number of nitrogens. So odd molecular mass. Okay. So this is how you get. Odd number means odd odd molecular mass means odd number of nitrogen. Even even number of molecular mass with even number of nitrogens. So this odd can be 1 3 5, and even can be 0 2 4. So it may not even contain nitrogen. Okay, so this helps when you don't know the molecular formula, when you don't know the structure. So first you have to find out the molecular formula, and then you go for structure determination using IR, NMR and everything. So all these methods are clubbed together to get a particular structure. In research, a mass spectroscopy is is used like anything, because we it defines or it confirms our structure. Now look at this example, diethyl methyl aniline amine, sorry. So it has one nitrogen, and look at the M by E value, it is 87, so it is odd, and the other fragments are even. And this is having no nitrogen. No nitrogen means it is zero nitrogen. Zero is a even number. So look at the molecular weight, it is 98. So this is not having any nitrogen, so it has a even mass, and the rest of the fragments are having odd numbered masses. Okay, so this is your nitrogen rule. We'll see one example afterwards. Then is rule 13. So for rule 13 we have to apply a formula. So what is that formula exactly? So what is rule 13? It says that whatever molecular formula is there of the compound is a multiple n of 13. Now what is this 13? 13 is nothing but carbon plus hydrogen. Carbon atomic weight is 12, hydrogen it is 1. So 12 plus 1 it is 13. The formula used is whatever molecular weight you have to divide it by 13. Okay, and then this can be calculated. Now, for example, I'll take a simple example, like say 15. Suppose my molecular weight is 15. Okay, so what will I do? I will divide this by 13. So it's like a simple division. So 13 ones are 13, 2. So this number that you are getting is n, and this is your remainder, that is r. So your r stands for remainder. Okay, and then once you know this, so you have to do the division like this, find out the remainder, find out this n, and then substitute in the formula. So this is the formula. The formula is CnHn plus r. Now there are certain rules. So if any heteroatom is present, so what can be a heteroatom? Heteroatom can be nitrogen, oxygen, halogen. So here specifically we are talking about these three elements. So if oxygen is present, then you have to subtract CH4, add O. If nitrogen is present, subtract CH2, add N. If Cl is present, subtract C2H11 and Cl. Okay, so this is how we do. Now let's take some examples over here. I'll use other pen. Now, for example, you may get a question that now how you have to do it. So what is given as per the uh, uh, mass spectra, the molecular mass is given. Okay, so molecular mass means what? M plus. So M plus value is given. So for example, let's say the M plus value is 94. Now what you have to do? You have to find out the molecular formula of that particular species. So the first thing that we do is 94 divided by 13. So what is 94 divided by 13? So you can do the calculation. So 7 91 3. So this is your n, this is your r. What was our formula? So n is equal to 7, r is equal to 3. So what was our formula? Cn Hn plus r. So just substitute it over here. C7H7 plus 3. So this is C7H10. So this is your formula. Now only this much information is given. So if only information about molecular weight is given, you can simply do it with these calculation. So for 106, so for 106 just calculate it again. So this is 106 and 13. So this is 8 and this is 104. So what is this? R is equal to 2, N is equal to 8. So substitute it again in the formula. So this will be C8H 8 plus 2. So this will be C8H10. Got it? Now these are some simple calculations for rule 13. Let's take a complex one. Suppose you are given a mass spectra like this and you are asked to find out the molecular formula for this. Now what information is given? So information given to you. The information given is the molecular mass ion. So M plus ion peak is what? From the mass spectra we come to know it is 121. Okay. Now they have given some other values. So other peaks that are given here is 77 and 44. Also some information, extra information is given that you are getting an IR peak at 1640 centimeter inverse. So we will see what is the use of this peak. Okay. Now, if you look at now how to find out. So start with the molecular ion peak. See, this is an odd value. Now, in nitrogen rule, we have seen that if it is odd molecular weight, then it contains odd number of nitrogen. Okay, it contains odd number of nitrogen, right? So this is first thing, let's fix it, that it must be containing nitrogen. It can be 1, it can be 3, anything. So we'll find out that later. Now first, let's apply the 13 rule. So our molecular weight is 121 divided by 13. So you get the when you do this calculation, the value is n and the remainder is 4. So n is equal to 4. So you can, sometimes it is written nr4. So n is this nr like a 9r4, sorry. So n stands for this quotient and this is your 4, right? Reminder. So nr4 is written. Now you just put it in that formula, cn n plus r. So what you're going to get, C9H13. So we have found out the basic formula, but we know that there is nitrogen present. Now from the rules that we had studied, if nitrogen is present, what we have to do? If nitrogen is present, subtract CH2 and add nitrogen. Okay, so in this formula C9H13, we will subtract CH2 and add one nitrogen. So when you subtract CH2 from here, so one carbon is reduced, two hydrogens are reduced from here, so you get C11 and N. Okay, this much is formed. Now there is some extra information is given over here. What is the information? That at 77 there is a peak. Now you all should remember that 77 is a particular peak for C6H5 phenyl ring. Okay, so if 77 is present in your mass spectra, always C6H5 is present. So we come to know that from C8H11N, we will subtract C6H5 because we know that there is a phenyl ring. Let's find out the remaining part. So if you subtract this, what is left? C2H6N. Now we have come up till here. Now we know that our formula contains this. So this is confirmed from the peak. So this part is confirmed. Now let's see the remaining part. Now there is an extra information given that IR peak is observed at 1640. Now peak from 1690 to 1700, somewhere around 1600, is a peak for C double bond O. And to be more precise, this is a peak of amide group. But since you have not studied, let's just assume that it is C double bond O. Okay, CO peak is there. That means it contains oxygen. So that is why that IR value is given. It contains oxygen. Now we have studied that if oxygen is present, okay, what you have to do? What we have to do? Subtract CH4 and add oxygen. So from this value, we will subtract CH4 and add one oxygen. So what is the answer? So you subtract CH4, so you get C, then 4, so CH2 and O. So this part is and sorry, N is also there. Okay, NO. So now this is the final. Now you cannot go beyond this. So now this is confirmed. Now just combine the two. So C6H5 and CH2NO. So this equals to what? C7H7NO. Okay. Now if you want to really find out the structure, now you know that it is this. So we will try to write down. So C6H5 is confirmed. Now we have to arrange CH2NO. Now I told you that 1640 is a peak exclusively for amide. So what should be the group over here? C double bond O NH2. This is the group. And if you want to confirm now you know the structure, now you know the formula. If you want to confirm it, you can do it. Now what we can do is, it's a simple method to do it. Just start subtracting the fragments. Okay. So if you subtract the fragments, what you get? 16. Now what will 16? If you break this, what is the value of this? 14 plus 2 is 16. That means this thing has been removed. This thing is removed, and whatever is left is this part is left as a cation, and this cation peak is 105. Okay, now from that 105, if you break this ring, because you know 77 is there, 77 means what? It is phenyl. So this part, so what has happened? Now what is 16 plus 12? CO is what? 16 plus 12, what is that? Okay, 12 is for carbon, O is for 16, so this is equal to 28. So if you subtract 105 minus 28, you are going to get what? 77, right? This is how the mass spectra is determined. So these are the, and this is your M plus, this is your benzamide peak. So it's fun actually calculating the mass spectra, solving the spectras. If it is done this way. So if you don't know the molecular formula, you don't know the structure, this is how it is done. Go on subtracting each fragment weight, and then determine the structure. You have this in your MSc. Okay. Now there are certain spectras which can, just by looking at those spectras, we get certain idea. For example, easily recognizable elements are bromine. Okay, so bromine has two isotopes whose concentration, whose percentage abundance is almost same, 50-50%. So you get two peaks of same heights, right? So if you get two peaks of same heights, which this indicates what? There must be bromine present in your spectra, in your molecule. Similarly, chlorine can be identified by the ratio. So look at the ratio. M plus is this, and this is M2 plus. So this is M2 plus, this is M2 plus. The difference in the isotopic abundance, isotopic mass is 2. Okay, so here also you can see the difference in the isotopic mass is 2, 79 and 81. So you are getting M plus 2. Here also the difference is 2. So you are getting M plus and M plus 2. So these two are isotopes. And this is 1, 3, 2 is to 1. So this is 3 is to 1. So if you get a ratio like this, 3 is to 1 ratio, then chlorine is present. So these are some of the hints which you can identify in the mass spectra. Now let's study some fragmentation patterns for some molecules. So for alkanes, how does the fragmentation pattern depends upon? Alkanes, when fragmentation takes place, so there is loss of methyl group, so stepwise fragmentation takes place. So for methyl group can be lost, so methyl group value is 15, ethyl group can be lost, so remaining fragment you may get a value, propyl group. So this way, if you have a long chain of carbon atom, this is how the loss is done. And when you have branched alkanes, the fragmentation takes place in such a way that you get the most stable carbocation. This is how a fragmentation takes place for alkanes. So I'll just show you for 2-methyl pentane, because this is the structure given over here, how the fragmentation takes place. So this is CH3, CH, CH3, CH2. So I'll directly start with the radical cation. This is your radical cation, and the M plus value is 86. So see this peak. This is your 86. That means molecular weight is what? 86. Because it's an high energy electron beam, it's not that this is only the fragment that will be formed. You can get multiple fragments, and the most stable fragments give you the peak. Okay, so you can have multiple fragmentation patterns. Now let's start with this, that we have seen that for alkanes, uh, you can start with loss of methyl group. So if in exam you're not aware what to do, so you simply start with the methyl group. Now if you break this methyl, so what is left? CH3, CH3, CH2, CH2. So this part will form the cation, and CH3 will be formed as radical. Remember, radicals don't are not detected. This is lost in the machine. So we are not concerned with this. Now if you find out the M by E value of this is 71. You can calculate it and see this is 71. And if you find the difference, 86 minus 71 is what? 15. So 15 indicates what? CH3 is lost. This is how it is done. Now this is one pattern. Another possible pattern could be that See, what is it saying? Branch alkanes tend to fragment, forming the most stable carbocation. Okay, so we have first lost the methyl. Now let's say ethyl is lost. So this is your ethyl. So in another pattern, ethyl is lost. So whatever is left, just write it down. Okay, and this CH2 CH3 radical will be formed. This M by E value is 57. So if you look at this is 57 and the mass of this is 29. So now see the difference between these two. Okay, so not these two, more of 86 and this. So 86 minus 57 is 29. So I told you multiple fragmentation takes place. So whichever is cations, stable ones, they will be shown in the spectrum. Okay. Another way this fragmentation can take place is you can break it over here. So this is CH3, CH, CH3 cation, and this is CH2, CH2, CH3. This will be the radical. This will be lost. Okay. So molecular mass is this. And this is 43. This is M by E is 43. So it is 43. So 43 is present, 43 is lost. This is more stable. That is why it stays. This is less stable carbocation. Yes or no? So stability is what? Tertiary, secondary, primary, and methyl radical. So this is which radical? This is your secondary. This is your secondary carbocation, and sorry, we are talking about carbocations, and this is your primary carbocation. So out of this one will show the peak, this one will be lost. So if you subtract 43 minus 86, okay, so what are you getting? 43. This is how you are getting fragments. So you have to check, you have to calculate it, find out what should be the from the mass, what should be present, and then you have to combine all the data and then conclude on a particular structure. Okay. Similarly, now you have this ethyl benzene. So for ethyl benzene also, it's like I'll, I'll quickly show you. Now this is your M by M plus molecular ion peak. So it is 106. Now if you for alkyl groups, for alkanes, so if this fragmentation takes place over here, so this CH3 is lost. What is the mass of this CH3? 15. So let's, if you want, you can start like this: 106 minus 91. What is the value? 15. So that means 15 is CH3. So this is lost. So what is left? This part is left. This is your cation which is formed over here. Okay. So these are the two peaks formed for alkyl benzene. Then let's say you can clearly see over here. So every time you go on breaking down, you just go on breaking down. So in first part, let's break this. So this is lost. This is 15. So you can simply subtract 72 minus 15. So this will give you, so this was a 72 and this remaining part is 57 and this is 15. So this part is lost and this is detected. Only cations are detected, radicals are lost. Second, we can also break it over here. Okay. So if you break it over here, what do you get? CH2 CH3. CH2 CH3 is 29, 15 and 14, 29. Okay. So if you subtract 72 minus 43, 29, that means it is this. So this is lost and this is detected and the value is 43 for this. Okay. Similarly, you now go further, break this part. So this will be the cation and this will be the radical. So this is the radical form, this is the cation form. Value of this is 29. So if you subtract 29 my 72 minus 29, you'll get 43. So this is lost. So as I told you, different fragments are formed because it is an high energy electron beam. The molecule can break in multiple patterns and the stable cations give their fragments. Okay. Now for alkenes, you can remember that fragmentation forms more fragments are formed which gives you more stable resonance stabilized allylic carbocation. So the fragmentation will take place in such a way. Now just look at this. This is your molecule trans 2 hexene. Okay. So if the molecule breaks over here, if the molecule breaks over here, this is your allylic carbon. This is your allylic position. This is your allylic position. So allylic carbocations are more stable. So the molecule breaks over here and you get a peak at 55. Okay, so this is how, and see, this is resonance. See the resonance which is over here. So the molecule breaks over here, and if even if you look at the difference between the two, you can get an idea what exactly is breaking down. So 84 minus 55 is 29. So 29 is nothing but molecular weight of this species. Okay. Similarly, let's look at this alkene fragmentation of 2-methyl butene. So now which is the allylic carbon atom? This is allylic carbon. This is allylic. This is also allylic. Okay. So anywhere it can break. So let's write it down. So I'm writing it here. CH3 C CH3 double bond CH CH3. So this is a radical cation and its M by E value is 70. That is why you get that value. Okay. So how it can break? Suppose one fragmentation. So how we can break it? We can break it this way. CH3. So you can break it at this carbon atom, right? So CH3, C, CH3. Okay, this is your CH and this cation will be formed over here. And the other group that is formed is CH3. The radical is formed, right? So if you look at the difference between 70 and 55, it is 15. 70 minus 55 is 15. That means this is lost and this is the peak that you get. So M by E value is 55 for this. It can break in other way. Now this is most stable, most stabilized, because it is allylic carbon, no, this allylic carbocation. So it is most stable. That is why this is obtained as a base peak. See, what is a base peak? This is the most stable cation in the whole molecule, which gives you a base peak. This is what you have to remember. Now, the other method way in which this can break is this way also. This is also a secondary carbocation. So it is breaking down over here. So the hydrogen, it goes over here. This thing goes over here. So it's like this. Sorry, CH3. Uh, sorry, CH2 double bond CH2. This is how. So these two fragments can be formed and value of this is 43. It can also break in one more format like CH3, CH, CH2. Okay. This so this can break like this CH2, CH3. So here it's one of the carbon is going to this and this way. So multiple patterns. Now this can further break into CH3, CH2 plus. So you go on getting fragments. That is why you are getting so many fragments over here. So this is how, but the base peak is this. Just by these two information also, you can get an idea what structure should be present in this particular molecule. Okay. Similarly, alcohols have OH group. So OH group, when they cleave, when they break, so they may break in such a way that some stable group is formed, like water is formed. So M by A for water is what, 18. So that group is lost. Alkyl group can be lost. Hydrogen can be lost. And for most of the alcohols, this is the value that you generally get. So this is the fragmentation pattern that I've written over here. This is CH2H. So this is how first H radical H2OH. So this is the most stable base peak that you can get for alcohols. Let's say for some aromatic compounds. For aromatic compounds also, if you look at aromatic compounds like suppose benzyl bromide. Okay, benzyl bromide. So what is the fragmentation pattern for benzyl bromide? In benzyl bromide, what we get is this molecule breaks over here. Okay, so this is your M by E, M plus radical cation. It breaks over here. So what are you going to get? You are going to get CH2 plus Br radical, which is lost. This M by E value is 91. So this is your CH2. Okay, and this can be converted to tropylium ion. That is why it is written tropylium ion. Okay, because this gives you a more stable format than the benzyl group, so it gets easily converted into this type of structure. So whenever 91 is present, most of the time it is this. Of course, you cannot rely only on mass for this. You have to go for other data also, like NMR is there, IR is there. So combination of all the spectroscopic techniques gives you the final structure. Another important thing that you can remember is, like, if you have a benzene ring, you always get a peak of 77, which is more stable. So this, if you have a 77 peak in your structure, it always it is it is a phenyl ring, that is C6H5. This ring is always there. So whenever a researcher, when it looks at the spectra, if there is 77 peak, it becomes very easy for identification, because it is always about benzene ring. So the identification becomes very easy. Okay, now let's look at esters. So each functional group has a particular pattern. So for esters, this is the group that breaks easily. So for example, methyl benzoate, the molecular ion peak is at 136. So this is the molecular mass. Now if it breaks over here, so if you calculate, now let's see, like suppose you don't know how to do it. So let's first subtract this. So what is the answer over here? 31, right? So answer is 31. So let's see what is 31. So assume that it is breaking over here. So it is suppose you assume to break at CH3. CH3 is 15, but this is 31 which is lost, so CH3 is not lost. Now if you add CH3O, so what is this? 16. So this is 31. That means what is lost? OCH3. That means this peak should be C double bond O. Acylium ion it is called. Fine. Now you have a peak at 77. So you know what is at 77, it is this. That means this is lost. CO is lost, and you look at the difference between 105 and 77. It is, what is the difference between 107 and 77? Yes, 16 plus 16 plus 12. 16 plus 12, what is it? 28, right? So this is also 28. Yes or no? So this is lost afterwards. This is how the fragmentation takes place. Fine. Next is ketones. Ketones also fragment. Suppose ketones are like this, C double bond O R dash. So they may fragment over here. Or so you may get two types. Like suppose the fragmentation takes place over here, it will be RCO plus. So this you can also write it as RCCO, acylium ion. Okay. Or it may cleave over here. So here you will get R dash radical, and the other pattern will be R radical, and this will be R dash C triple bond O plus. This is called as acylium ion. So fragmentation takes place in such a way that an stable acylium ion is formed. So for example, it is this, it's symmetrical. So this is your M plus value. So you can break it over here. Now if you want to check whether CH3 is getting lost or CH2 CH3. So just take the difference between the two. 86 minus 57. What is the difference? 29. So but CH, and you can also learn some values. CH3 is 15, CH2 CH3 is 29. So you quickly understand what is it. 29, that means this is lost. So if this is lost, so this part is formed as a cation. So what is this peak over here? CH3 CH2 COO plus. Okay, so this is 20. Now you uh, cleave it over here, so this will be the cation form, so that is the 29. So this is nothing but CH3 CH2 plus. So I told you it can break in different methods, and whatever are stable, which are the cations which are able to retain in the machine, they will give you the values. Similarly, amine. So look at this, this is your secondary amine. So iminium ion, so whenever this is your iminium ion, which is comparatively stable. So the cleavage can take place this way. So this group can break, over here, and you will get values. So this is how amines also break. So this was all about mass spectroscopy. So what we have studied so far, mass spectrum is vertical bar graph, each graph representing fragments representing the M by E values, charge mass to charge ratio, which is generally the mass of the ion, and each indicates the relative abundance. Abundance means what? The one which can stay there for a longer time. The radical cation M plus dot is called as the radical cation, which is formed after you bombarded the molecule with an electron, which is called as a molecular ion or parent ion, which gives you the molecular weight. So once in a like you suppose you have synthesized something and you want to confirm that whatever you have synthesized is same. Suppose hypothetically on paper you know the molecular weight is 106. So the first thing the researcher does is take its mass spectra to check whether you are getting M plus ion peak at 106. If you're getting it at 106, then boom, yes, you are successful in your reaction. If you're not getting it at 106, that means something else is formed. Then again he has to go back to do the table work and synthesize it again. So this is how it works in research. Then most abundant ion gives the tallest peak, which is called as the base peak, most abundant, most stable, right? uh, if nitrogen is present, like odd number of mass, or if odd molecular weight is there, odd number of nitrogen. If even molecular weight is there, even number of nitrogen. That is nitrogen rule. Then you have rule 13, which is used for determining the molecular weights. Okay, so these are some of the applications of mass spectroscopy. Fine. All the spectroscopic techniques are generally used in combination to determine the structure. So mass spectroscopy is one of them. I hope you have understood this. Thank you.